Hi, Dick. How are you?
I'm just giggling at the thought that I got a pin-up poster in my
Yeah.
office of the tanned
Yeah.
one.
You do. Don't lie. All right, I'm out of here.
How you doing?
I'm doing okay. What do you think? World War
Uh,
Three?
yeah, actually, funny enough, I do. I think that's really interesting, the reaction that we've just seen to those numbers which came out, which, inherently you'd go short of the 10-year, you'd buy the dollar and you sell equities, but they haven't really moved, have they, the markets
No.
on what is
Yeah.
pretty
Go ahead.
amazing data.
Yeah. So definitely looks like Euro's coming back, and
Yeah,
gold looks to be weakening, but the S&Ps are coming back quite a bit.
yeah.
Um, you know, perhaps we're going to get some type of turn here at 1.5. I don't think so.
No,
What's your uh, biggest conviction in the markets right now, Dick? Are you looking for a top in the dollar, continuation move in it, and which currency do you favor?
uh, I actually, having seen that reaction to the data, it makes me more convinced that this is a headline-driven market. So, and let's look at what the headlines are going to be. I can't see many positive headlines coming out of the Middle East. I find it really, really hard to see Hamas in Israel having got to the state that they're in, that either side will back down. And I think that Iran's fingers can be felt there. So I can't see positive messages coming out of there on the headlines. I think there's other trouble spots in the world. I was saying to Blake last night, I think China looks a potential real nightmare in two ways. One with in the Philippines and confrontation there, but also internally with property, which could well be their Lehman's moment. So, I think it's really, really headline. I can't see positive headlines coming. And so inherently, I want to buy the dollar. I want to sell 10 years because I think yields are going to go higher, despite flows into the dollar into the 10-year. I'd be short of sterling. I'd be short of the euro. Um, yen, I think there's too much political intervention going on there. So I'd be really, really careful of the yen. I'd just be holding my breath, waiting for the big move.
Okay. So here's a reaction here in the 10-year. We're actually now down 2 bips, and I've been trying to bottom pick this thing. I just started here. This is like
Yeah,
TLT. So I mean yields. I mean, try and find a bond bull anywhere anymore. Are
yeah,
there any left? I mean, haven't the vigilantes strung them up
yeah,
and skinned them
yeah.
and everything? So I'm just thinking we could make another low, but that maybe with everything you're talking about, Dick, that it's possible
Yeah.
that the old days that when there are troubles and with all the short positions that there might be dare I say it, because they're not anymore, flight to quality.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think? I mean, you and I remember when that
Yeah,
used
I
to
was going to
happen.
say the
Huh?
problem is, Dale. The problem is, Dale. What's
No one else
quality these
does.
days?
Yeah, no one else does. But
No.
remember,
There's an
you remember
expression I haven't heard.
87, Dick,
Yeah,
and yields were going up and up and up,
yeah,
and the market held together and held together. And the only difference was the dollar was sliding then, not going up.
yeah.
Could there, besides that, are we possibly in an analogy, analog to 87 with the disintermediation we have between yields and mega cap? I know mega caps come in a bit, but you know,
Well, I
not
actually,
that much.
you being a mere youngster to me, Dale, I've actually think there's quite a lot of correlation with 1973 as well, uh,
Okay.
when
All right.
uh, there was an oil crisis. What I see, my scenario is a worst case scenario is Iran gets involved, but they don't start lobbing bombs around. They actually just close the Strait of Hormuz and
Right.
cause a standoff, which
Yeah.
causes a massive squeeze on oil, which in itself is inflationary. Inflation, I think, is still lying there. I think there's unfinished business in inflation. And I think you could reignite that inflationary spiral again, at which case you see bond yields go up some more. And that's what I see. I can't believe how stock markets, I know they've come back a long way, but how they're still holding in there when really you've got, what, 6 stocks holding them up? That's a lot of heavy lifting going on there.
Yeah, the Magnificent Seven, but
7, yeah.
Like I was telling the crowd, there's a lot of the Magnificent Seven that are on Boot Hill. There's Amazon.
Yeah.
Here's Nvidia. I mean, the poster child of AI.
Yeah.
It could break down here. It's a head and shoulder stop, and
that's what, a 20% drop from its highs, roughly.
Yeah, it was up to, the high was 500. So
yeah,
15%. I mean, Apple's been holding up the best, but it's still 15-20% off the highs. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I did read something earlier. I did read something earlier which actually really interested me, that the only way that you'll see bonds really turn and you'll see buyers flood into them is by a major change in risk.
Right.
So people suddenly people actually want risk. They sell the bond. Get out the bond. Start chasing bonds. And the 2 ways are going to happen on that. You're going to get some positive news out of the Middle East, out of China, or out of Ukraine, or one of these other hotspots, or you're going to see rates go so high that the Fed has to intervene to push them. And it was Andy Costin who wrote it. It's a really good point, because actually that might well be the only trigger that is believable, that yields go so high that they really, really hurt, that the Fed actually does have to come in and intervene and start cutting. Because otherwise, I just don't see where the positivity comes in this market. I don't think I've ever been so, I'm an optimist by nature, but I don't think I've ever been so doom and gloom about what's going on in the world.
So the Fed would sacrifice the stock market, which is the opposite of how it used to be, to possibly get some help with the bond market.
Yeah, because
if that's their playbook.
Well, maybe. I mean, I personally, I think the 10-year will go to 6%.
Okay.
And at some point,
I do too.
That's really, really going to hurt those regionals.
Okay. What do you have any thoughts on gold, Dick? That's been, since the invasion by Hamas, massacre, one heck of a move. Like $170 in a few weeks, and to me this looks heavy.
It does,
silver looks heavier than gold. It's the gold silver ratio has been in favor of gold over silver.
Let me ask you a question. We're similar generation. Historically, any problem in the world, inflation, war, whatever, the knee-jerk reaction is buy gold. Right. And it's always been the way since I was a kid in the markets. Right. I just wonder now, and I talked to Blake about this a couple of weeks back, and he's saying, what would you do? And I said, actually, I'd buy Bitcoin. And partly because I'm now working within a crypto business, I think it's really, really interesting that Bitcoin is non-geographical. There's no politics at all attached to it. It's completely clean. So if you buy the dollar, for a lot of people, and I love America, as you well know, my mother was American, so I am half American. But a lot of the world now has turned
against its
feelings against America.
Yeah.
And I just wonder whether actually Bitcoin is not replacing the dollar, but might well be one of the flight to quality that people choose. I mean, it's jumped up. I think there's some other things going on in there with BlackRock, but whether youngsters like it, whether the Saudis like it, the Russians, there's a whole host of people who really don't like the dollar, and with the deficit that you're running. You do question it.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just hard for me to say what's it worth. You
Yeah,
know, so but you know, you had a breakout. We're up against this resistance here from last year. You know, I thought we were going to head down with risk off. I was wrong. I guess it was just the announcement with Grayscale,
yeah, yeah.
GBTC, and I don't know how that really moves the needle much, but obviously it did move the needle.
Yeah, be
So
interesting. Can you do a Bitcoin gold correlation?
I don't have that up,
No,
but
but be interesting to look at that, just to see since October the 7th, how each of them has moved and whether it is just actually to do with Grayscale that's really pushed Bitcoin, and whether there is actually some fundamental buying in there because of the political problems.
there goes silver. So silver
Yeah,
almost likes the dollar not being too strong. And
yeah,
I think you got to buy it down here if we go down here again, Dick.
yeah, I think so. Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
gold, you know, there's still some people thinking we could try 1800 again, but I don't know.
I'm sure there's
You're
plenty of
what?
old folk out there who still like gold, I think.
Remember when platinum, Dick, you and I, same
Yeah,
generation, it used to trade what, 1500 premium to
yeah,
gold?
yeah,
Can you,
yeah.
I mean, look at the
Geez,
discount to gold. It's like at 50% of what gold is.
that's unreal, isn't it?
I mean, that's got to be a spread and reversion to mean trade eventually, being long platinum, short gold.
Got to
Just
be.
something to think about. You guys in the UK pay a lot of attention to copper,
Yeah,
right? From, you know, LME guys. What do you
yeah.
think here of copper?
Looks like it's breaking down, doesn't it?
Yeah. So that's the global economy. Dr.
Yeah,
Copper. You know,
tanking, I guess.
he got sued, Dr. Copper. You know for what?
What?
Impersonating a bull market. It's a big fine, Dick. Yeah. Turn in your pennies.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's right.
so pound. You know, I know that you've been negative cable for a while. We finally got that top. What you have downside targets? They were like 118 a long time
Yeah.
ago. Have they
Listen,
changed?
I've been negative cable for the last 50 years. I
For the
very
most,
rarely have I said
yeah,
buy. Only really when it got down below, like 108 or something.
yeah.
Um, we have got high inflation, much higher inflation here than in the States. We've got a dysfunctional government that's heading into an election against a pretty hopeless opposition party whose chancellor could vie with the last three chancellors in this country as the most incompetent ever. We've got an incompetent Bank of England governor. Uh, apart from that, it all looks pretty good here. There's an outside chance, and I was talking about to Blake that we have another election for a leader of the Conservative Party in the near future, which would make it leader number 4 in
I heard they couldn't even get it together to put together an employment report.
yeah, yeah. It's just like unreal. And
I
then
mean, how do you run monetary policy without even being able to get an employment report?
yeah, exactly. Well, they can't run monetary policy or fiscal policy, in my opinion, which I shouldn't
Bring
really say.
back Danny Blanchflower.
Yeah, we have crossed swords in the past, Danny Blanchard. But
Yeah.
Danny Blanchard is the name of a very, very famous footballer in this country, and maybe the other one should stick to football. I saw earlier that UK retail sales or CPI figure on retail sales came at down 21. I just think people are actually really, really hurting him. My family or parts of my family who aren't involved in finance or in retail and whatever have
They're hurting.
mortgages,
Yeah.
and they're hurting. But the issue is you've still got rampant inflation here.
Yeah. It's what happens at the store
Yeah, yeah.
or
I mean,
everywhere.
I know what my outgoings are, and I get my, I know roughly how much I'm going to spend in the supermarket each week or at the butcher's or whatever. And every week I'll get the bill and say, I can't believe I've just spent so much money.
Yeah.
And it's whatever they say, inflation is still here. You're getting wage inflation, 100 and I might be getting my numbers wrong. It's either 130 or 103,000 workers in London just been given a 10% pay rise. You've got the public sector very strong. They're getting big pay rises. The private sector's hurting, but those who are making money are going to want pay rises. So you're getting this wage price spiral. I don't know. But then on the other hand, you've got guys who've got mortgages and they never thought interest rates could go above 1%. A lot of them, idiots.
Right.
But, they're bleeding. So it's a really difficult problem. I mean, it's a classic stagflation, isn't it? Probably the same in Europe.
Yeah. So they didn't have 30-year 3% mortgages in the UK. It was all floating.
They're either
variable,
floating or very short fix, maybe 2-year fixed, which are rolling off now.
So it goes from what? Their mortgage from, if they did it a few years ago, 3-4% to 10?
No, it probably goes actually lower than that, but probably similar sort of quantum, probably from 1 to 5.
Okay, because we're at 7 here.
Yeah. But you have a lot of long-term fixed mortgages. So if I had a long-term fixed mortgage, I probably wouldn't move because I'd want to keep my rate low. Is that right in the States?
Right. Yeah. A lot of people locked in 3% money.
Yeah.
So the only way they're losing their home is if they lose their jobs.
Yeah.
Not just because of a squeeze of their mortgage payment doubling.
Yeah.
Like you guys have going on there.
But here they're likely to, I don't know whether there'll be a lot of forbearance or whether the government will help on housing costs. But here they are likely to hurt. But I was talking the other day about the first flat that I bought in London in 1976. I bought a 1-bedroom flat and it cost me £18,000 and I sold it within a year for £26,000. And it wasn't me being clever, it was just house price inflation, right? So that very flat is probably now £1 million. It's just, ludicrous. So people have got huge mortgages here and it's not, and when you're borrowing at 1%, you can get enormous leverage. And the Bank of England only tested them if interest rates rose to 3%. I think it's 3%, but the level of financial pain that they could suffer was really, really low. And I think this is going to be a big problem going forward over the next year or so.
Okay. All right. Well, any view on the commodity currencies, Dick? I mean, Aussie, the long-term chart on Aussie, it's just been grinding down here.
Yeah.
What do you think? Still lower?
Still lower. I think China obviously hits it, doesn't it, pretty hard. But what about the old loonie?
Yeah, I was looking at that. I'd like to have your view. It's kind of setting up a little 3 drive to a top here. If I, go the 4-hour, go the daily. It's pretty classic, Here's your first drive, your second, kind of a wedge up here. Maybe I think Ellioticians might call this an ending diagonal. So, and see how we're not confirming here on the daily. So maybe something there in the next 48 hours or so. Do you follow any astronomical stuff, or you're not nutty like me, like eclipses and
only when I'm gardening.
Really? Okay, so you have to know why when you're gardening, because you do it at night and you look up at the sky, or what?
Yeah.
You do it at night?
I actually do follow the moon really closely because I swim every day in the sea. So I follow the moon to follow the tides. But I learned years ago from a very dear friend that he always planted at full moon because the gravitational pull pulls water into the plants.
Okay. Yeah.
There you go.
It's all connected. It's all
the things
connected.
you learn. Yeah,
I see a lot of turning points on some of this stuff. I mean, it's just another cycle.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
you know, what,
Psychologically, maybe.
yeah,
Do you think?
that could be too. I mean, you know, you go into a hospital on a Friday night full moon and they're busier. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Well,
okay, Dick, I want people to use your service. And I know you have a currency service. Tell us what
yeah.
else what else you're doing, and
Uh,
how people could reach you.
I'm doing a currency service. I work with a company called One.io. I post on Twitter. I do some videos. I've got a couple out today. I do one with Blake, which is always great fun. The company I work for has also got a that's a bit embarrassing showing photographs of a yellow submarine, which I made from Lego there. We also are actively involved in crypto trading. We've got a over-the-counter crypto desk. So pretty much trading either cryptos or currencies, but always happy to talk to people and always happy to be asked questions, actually.
Look at that, 100,000 pounds, and
Yeah. So anyway, so there's a picture of two little characters here.
yeah, who are they? Your kids?
Well, no, it's slang it's Cockney slang for the yen.
Oh,
Okay, these are
this
two
is
TV characters when I was a kid called Bill and Ben.
okay.
So if you
All
ever
right,
when I was a money broker, the old Bill and Ben is what's the yen, and I was
all
thinking,
right.
hey, people ain't going to talk about the yen
Should we
today.
try and top pick this yen yet, Dick? What do you think?
Oh God, I don't know.
If
I
you have
really
to
don't
pray
know.
about it, probably not, huh?
Yeah, I mean, how many times have we've talked about it and called the top? Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
what
All right. Well, this is where you could find Dick, and
uh,
I don't see the link to your company. This does not open up
no,
for me.
that's my personal. I'll put a link up to my company later on,
Okay. All right.
which is one.io. But
Best idea
good,
going into year end, Dick. It's only a couple months.
my trade I do into the year end, uh, buy lumber
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so
because you're going to
real
need
estate
it to
recover.
rebuild.
Okay, rebuilding where? Everywhere?
But no, I'm not going to be that negative. I'm going to need it to rebuild Gaza and
Okay.
Israel and
Okay.
all that sad stuff.
Will
Um,
it will the war expand as are there going to be airstrikes on Iran?
oof. Listen, last night I made a complete fool of myself. I did an interview with Blake, and I was bemoaning the fact that you couldn't elect a speaker. And as I was saying that, you elected a speaker. So I'm not going to make comments that are going to come back and bite me. I wouldn't rule it out.
All right. Well,
Would you?
I know we're
Would
not
you?
supposed to be political, but this
No.
guy is an election denier and also was involved in pushing that narrative.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and you know, looks like he'll be overseeing the next election, right, to certify. So,
Do you? But do you think he'll?
Rod Serling couldn't write this script.
No, that's true. But do you think that Biden? I know we shouldn't be political, and excuse me if I just tell me to be quiet if you think that this is wrong to say this. But do you think he will actually stand? He will, get to stand to be president, or he will be replaced by Michelle Obama a
Oh, you're
month
talking
before?
about Biden? Yeah,
Yeah,
I've heard that. I've heard that as well. I have no idea. All I know is in this world right now, Dick, what I tell people is to keep an open mind because anything and everything will happen.
yeah, yeah. I think that's absolutely right.
You
And
know,
actually, I was very
can't write off
no,
any,
not at all.
thing now.
And I
So
was very flippant about positions going into the year end. But what uh, I would say is I'd be a real short term scalper. I'm not sure I'd be having big positions on my book. If I did, they would be very, very defensive.
okay. Well, I don't think we have to worry about coal in our stockings for Christmas, Dick, because Santa can't find any.
It's going to be
So
so expensive.
we could be naughty and yeah, we don't have to
Yeah,
worry about the coal.
chance
So
of, chance would be a fine thing.
I always enjoy batting the ball around with you, buddy. I'm
And
so
you.
glad that Blake connected us and we get to talk every 3 months or so.
Yeah, and look forward to
So,
doing it again before the year end.
all right, Dick. Well, Dick
Cool.
Matthews, everybody.
And
Follow him at Dickie Matthews 5 on Twitter. And Dick will make time for you if you have some questions and you want to talk to him and
yeah,
maybe do something, maybe like come out of your dollars and buy something else at the right time.
yeah,
You do cash transactions too,
yeah,
right?
that's right. Yeah, cash transactions. So if
Okay.
you're moving money, if you're buying something abroad or whatever, contact me. Just drop me a DM on my Twitter account, and I'll actually put up my work account. Actually, I'll type it into the
Okay.
if it's okay into the chat
Can
room.
Americans do it with you and then leave it
Yeah,
over there and
yeah,
leave it there?
yeah.
So I actually saw Robert Proctor interviewed. He's been around forever, and he thinks he didn't used to talk like this, but he thinks it's a good idea to have some money offshore and also have a second passport. So
Oof.
you could at least have some money offshore
Yeah,
and be
yeah. I can't do the
politically
passport.
diversified. Yeah.
I can't
Uh,
do the passport though.
yeah, I know. Yeah, that's like,
What?
you could come into our country, it'll only cost you $500,000,
Yeah. So, what
right?
would your second passport be if you had one?
Grand Caymans.
Good call. Like it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's it.
I can
A
get a
lot of people.
Canadian one.
How about New Zealand? I've
Yeah.
heard New Zealand, they don't take many people either.
No, that's
So,
true.
yeah, I don't know if they want, pirate traders there. Australia, Mandy's saying, come to Australia. So,
Nice place. I like Australia.
all right, is that where we're camping? Huh? All right. All right,
Cool.
listen. Great talking to you, Dick. Good luck in
And
the
you, Dale.
markets, buddy, and talk to you in the winter.
Look forward
All
to it.
right.
Stay safe. Stay safe, everyone.
All right. Yeah. Dick
Cheers.
Matthews,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Cheers.
Adios.
Bye-bye now.
Don't just count your pips, count your blessings,
Yeah.
and you can catch the team in 14 minutes on the morning edge. See everybody. Adios, Dick.
Hey traders, this is Blake Morrow with Forex Analytics. Thanks for stopping by our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like these videos, share them, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of the content that we provide here for free. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next video.